I may get up to get one of the 3 beverages that I bought for the show.
Well, maybe we should save it. But Joe, in your honor, I've got 3 beverages.
I don't have anything in your honor, and
that's
the way it goes.
For the record, you got the ball rolling. You put this together.
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we start? We can start with that. I can take all the credit right at the beginning of the episode. We can start with that. You know. Okay. So here we go. 1, 2. I'm starting on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4.
This is the worst.
Thank you. Welcome to another episode of The Long Shot. Good afternoon, good morning, good night, good noon, good dusk, good desk, good pandemic, good electoral season, good voting, good wishes. Welcome to another episode of The Long Shot. I am your host. My name is Sean Conroy. With me today on The Long Shot, he is the proprietor of the Dynasty Typewriter. Jamie Flam is here.
Good to be here on just another episode of The Long Shot.
What is your costume? By the way, we're doing this for Halloween. What's your costume, Jamie?
I told Amber when we first got in here that a couple months ago I took all the costumes, all the wigs, everything that was in my apartment. I just took them to the typewriter. So, I mean, all I could find, and I found this in my parents' garage last weekend, but this was a beanie that I wore unironically when I was 16. It's this big. It says GAT because San Fernando Valley was an important brand, but it actually fits perfectly over big headphones.
Yeah, it's perfect.
But I didn't know.
You look like a cartoon character right now.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, I'm going to confirm that and say that a beanie over headphones is also a little scary looking.
This was an unexpected treat. Yeah, it's kind of mushroomy.
It just makes it look like mushroomy. Makes it look like you're trying to hide the fact that you do have some kind of differently shaped head.
You look like. Sorry, go ahead, Amber. This is how it goes with Zoom.
We're going to figure out our boundaries.
It's going to be fine. It looks like a cartoon because it looks like it defies the law of physics. Like your hat is tight, but also bigger than your head. Like
it's way bigger. Jamie has a tiny head. That's been established. That is canon that Jamie has a very unusually small head, like a pinhead. Jamie is a pinhead, basically.
But now it's like this explosion.
But yeah, somehow the hat, I don't know how it stays fluffed out like that.
That's the thing.
It's the headphone.
Because there's nothing holding it. Right, it's ghost headphones.
It looks like the hat is containing an explosion of head.
Yes.
Like
right. Oh,
he does have headphones on. That's right. I forgot.
Well, that's all our time.
I do.
Also,
before we get together,
beanies over headphones, episode 1.
Yes.
Before we talk about anybody else,
right?
Yes, please.
There is a character that comes to mind from the Fat Albert.
Mm-hmm, that's
exactly what I was going to say. If you just pull it down over your eyes, cut eye holes.
Yes.
That's
a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
You'd win the contest.
John, that was a good impression, by the way. Like if you were an impressionist.
Oh man, I worship Cosby. Okay. Also,
you could say you did that guy. What's the name of that guy?
Mushmouth?
That character.
Is it Mushmouth? I don't know.
I think it is Mushmouth.
It feels like it's a guess, but it might be right.
It does feel like the perfect guess.
Also with us today on the show from. Oh, I forgot to mention that
Yeah, what's your costume?
No, I wasn't going to talk about that.
Oh.
I am in an undisclosed location high in the Hollywood Hills, but
none of us are.
Amber is in an sorry, we didn't get to Amber yet, but she's here. Amber is in an undisclosed location in East Hollywood. Jamie is in an undisclosed location in West Hollywood, And Joe is in an undisclosed location in downtown Los Angeles, I believe.
Yeah, for the last 6 years. I think I've mentioned it before.
We don't know.
Well, I don't know where you're coming from.
We haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah.
Oh,
and also,
yeah.
where are you right now? I don't know where you are right now. Maybe you had to go to Kinko's for Wi-Fi or some shit. I know how you live.
Hi, I'm Joe. I haven't tried to go anywhere for the last 8 months as much as possible. So sorry, but I will confirm.
Joe Wagner is here, the star of Gray Skull, or who are you supposed to be? What's your costume?
Oh, it was just scary. I don't know, scary skull guy.
Okay.
I will say I've been on a bus with that scary skull guy before.
Scary skull
I've
guy.
seen the photo of that.
Amber's best friend. That's right. We're bus buddies.
And of course, also here, the light at the end of the tunnel. The I don't know. Is it a Pinky Smurf? What's the?
It's Poppy from the very popular franchise Trolls.
Trolls.
That's paying my bills.
Nice.
Amber, that hat is well designed because when I saw it, I thought she looks like one of those trolls.
I thought that just because you were sitting in front of a computer and writing something, but the hat definitely adds to it.
Oh, she's also writing hate. You're right. She's writing hate speech up right now on the internet. Yeah.
Alt wrong or alt right?
Wow.
Alt think about it.
What's your costume, Sean?
I am a farmer who is benefiting from Trump's trade war with China.
Those are very rare to see.
That's why I thought it was a good costume, because nobody would guess it right away.
No.
Right.
Just doesn't seem likely. You know what I mean?
I'm making a lot from his trade war, you know.
What did you already have that pair of overalls?
No, I had to go to the overall store this morning.
Okay. That's proactive.
By the way,
not easy. I had to settle for an overall deal.
Oh boy.
We should have been zooming from day one.
Sorry, what were you going to say, Joe?
I like the angle. I mean, speaking of Zoom, I like the angle of your shot because this is the first time you've ever said high atop the Hollywood Hills. And I truly felt that you were at the summit. Yes. That the device that you're using is literally under you because you are at the top of that. There you are. This is fun. I'm enjoying this. I mean, Aaron is asleep, but I think we're all having a good time.
Yeah, what a rude picture. Aaron's picture just has him, although his eyes are open in the picture.
He should have a picture that just says like, "Good job."
Yeah.
You're killing it.
Or just staring at the screen like that.
But while he's still asleep, like a thumbs up.
Keep going.
All right. Well, we always like to start the show every time we do it, as we have every time in the last year and a half. The Long Shot podcast. We always like to start with a segment that we call Checking In. So why don't we start today with Checking In? And let's start with Jamie. Let's find out what's been going on with Jamie.
Jamie, if you don't have something in a year and a half, I swear to God.
Imagine he's just like, I made baked beets.
Well, have you been reading my diary?
Jamie,
how are you?
I'm trying to abide by the Immaculata.
I have, of course, a lot. I'm sure we all do.
If that's what you have, though, Jamie, that is
Yesterday was my enchantiversary.
We do have a school called the Enchantiversity that is very regularly called the Enchantiversary. But I got a check-in today, unexpectedly, about an hour and a half ago, that is still in my system.
Great.
I drove to Reseda to visit my grandma, which I can't do as often as I'd like because she lives in a home with other people of age. Wow, the long shot.
Please don't say people of age. That's offensive.
It's interesting to see because there's a very specific version of myself that just comes out with you.
That's what I was saying at the beginning. We cannot not be this when we're together, and I don't know why. It's like,
well, what do you mean by people of age? What are you trying to say?
Old people.
Oh, yeah.
Jamie-
So then just say old people.
Sure, of
Jamie
course. Yes,
is-
Because
yes.
everybody is a person of age except the unborn, although some would. Anyway, I don't want to get into the
Yeah.
Barrett thing. Go ahead, Jamie.
So I went to visit my grandma. I can't go into her place because of COVID, the pandemic that we exist in. So I brought
The
some lunch.
so-called pandemic.
So-called, right.
Thank you, farmer.
Mhm.
And
Tariffs, baby. Tariffs.
we-
I need you to stop watching Fox News. Like, I'm begging you at this point.
I watched Sean. It's so weird. If I watch Fox News, I think of you. And that like fucks with my head.
I never had much of a political. I mean, obviously, I think lean progressive, lean liberal, and but in 10 years of doing the podcast, like, you know, I think I usually bow out, especially when
We noticed.
Well, I think I no offense, Jamie, but I think sometimes
Whoa.
you start to become more politically aware as you become more of a person of age.
yeah, I think it's true.
That's true.
But even I look back 4 years ago when we were still doing it and we're leading up to the Trump election. And of course, I was like, this is a madman. This is insane. But yeah, of course, in the last 3-4 years, but especially the last year, like, oh, shit. And like just
You think these
flashing
might be
back to
bad?
like, oh, I could have had a bigger, stronger opinions and voice. Not that I didn't have strong opinions, but I think especially even in the lead up to it, just I have such a better understanding and sense of urgency and of the insanity that's happening on our planet. So anyway, and that is that, as they say.
So you're in Reseda with your grandma and
You
a
now
bunch
understand
of
that the
people of age.
republic is dying.
Yes, and like literally.
Jamie,
And
you could just add on, and I cooked some beets or whatever Sean said at the beginning.
We didn't get
Just
to
use
the
that
checking
as
in
your-
yet.
Topper.
No, he said he has something that happened in the nursing home or outside the nursing home. I guess you're
In the
outside the
nurs-
nursing home, right?
Right.
Anyway, I went over there.
Because those are hotbeds. You got to stay out, Jamie.
Yeah, I
Jamie,
stayed out.
have you done the window up to the window thing? Have you had to do that? Have you seen
No.
people who've done that?
There's not a window
Do
situation.
you know what windows are?
What are windows?
No, I'm just saying. It's I those pictures are
I like that
kept
Joe is
de-escalating the question.
miming standing against a window.
Is this a better angle?
It's pretty good mime work. Anyway, I was in Reseda. I saw my parents and my grandma. We had a nice little lunch outside. And then on the way back, I'm on the 101 near Laurel Canyon. In a flash second, I was listening to a podcast, and I think I went to click on the 15-second forward thing because there was an add-on. And I looked up, and there was a car right in front of me, and I just slammed on the brakes, but it was way too late, and
Are you kidding me?
just plowed into the back of
no.
this car. And-
Today.
Like less than 2 hours ago, probably.
You better
Holy
hope your
shit.
insurance company is not listening to this podcast.
Yeah, no, you're not at fault.
No, I'm definitely not at fault.
This just happened to you. And
Are
you're
you
here.
okay? Like physically?
No, I'm still physically not like I mean, I didn't get hurt. I didn't get injured. But a little shaken up, but like
Of course.
so we pull over to the side.
This is classic Jamie Berry the lead check-in, by the way.
Well, I like how it
Classic.
starts with a long thing about going
lunch
to a
and
nursing home.
Reseda.
Yeah. None of which has anything to do with the actual story.
And I kind of want to double back to that, Jamie, real quick. So you did see your grandma.
I did.
I also want to know what you had for lunch. Sumi?
What were the precautions
I'll get there.
like? How did you do it?
How far apart were you guys at lunch?
It is a hot spot.
And
That
how
was a
far
hot-
apart were you after you hit the other car?
A hot lunch spot.
Well, we social distance out in front, like they have a protocol with the home.
Oh, so it's
Coming
outside.
home.
Yeah, it was
It was
outside.
al
You're not allowed
fresco.
outside. Yes.
Al fresco.
What's
and
the name of the home?
It's called Fountain View.
Don't say the name of them.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Aaron, if you're taking notes, that's a.
If any fans want to go visit,
I'm
try to
sure
visit
Aaron is
Jamie.
taking notes right now.
Literally, as I look at a picture of him zoning out.
I love like making a joke and then looking at Aaron's picture and being like, that's what I get.
I mean, but like actually asking if he was taking notes and looking at the picture is.
It's really good.
By the way, the best part of this picture. Okay, so to remind the audience here, it's one of those emojis. It's an emoji.
It's a memoji, I think, is what they call
it.
it.
It's a memoji of a guy.
It's a
Bitmoji, yes.
A bit. Thank you, Aaron. A bit. Oh, it's me.
Oh, you woke him up.
Guys, he's sleep talking. No, he's sleep talking. So it's a guy, and he's sitting in front of his laptop, and there are 3 Z's to make you think that he's asleep.
But his eyes are
But
open.
his eyes, yes. He has glasses, and it looks like his eyes are open behind the glasses.
Which is more insulting. Like, it isn't like he fell asleep. It is so boring.
I think he's
that
losing his
No.
losing his mind.
I think that the whole idea of it is that these are like the glasses. They're fake glasses. He's sleeping underneath, but trying to appear as if he is awake.
Right.
Fun.
Is that?
I just
Yes,
like
that is
the
accurate.
name of the nursing home because I like when they're called things like, Shady
Right.
Grove or
Right.
way down or cooling off period.
Right.
I like
Dark Patch.
yeah.
The end, like the final time.
Be prepared, here it comes, that kind of thing.
Final time trees.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
I picked up Mendocino Farms. It's I don't know if that's a
Delicious.
national chain, but they're popping up all over LA and really good salads, good sandwiches.
Wait, it's a supermarket.
No, it's a sandwich.
Jamie, what happened
Yeah.
to your sound? It doesn't sound right anymore.
Really artisanal sandwich
It's like a
shop?
deli.
I
More
wouldn't
like
call
a
it
deli.
deli.
No, just a
Is my
sandwich
sound
shop.
better?
No, it sounds off.
Did it improve? Huh?
No.
Is it like a Jersey Boys, Jersey Jacks?
No. It's like elevated. It's like
Yeah.
it's like it's like a chicken club, but like organic, and it's delicious. I sound like I'm making fun of it. It's very good.
No,
I
I've heard of it.
always get at Mendocino Farms, I always get the spicy banh mi, and it's really good.
I'm doing a
I can't
Bitmoji
tell.
of a chef's
Me neither.
kiss.
Banh mi is so wrong.
It's wrong. Like
But
every
spoken with
direction.
such confidence that you just gotta applaud.
I just love going to places like that and saying, "Can I have a banh mi?" Because they get flustered.
Bon Mui. What do you say? What do
Banh
you guys
mi.
say?
Banh mi.
Bon
Banh
Mui.
mi. Stop saying
Bon-
it. Banh mi. That's
So
what I say.
Jamie, you plow into the back of this other car.
Yeah.
Bone me. Bone me. Go ahead.
What happens?
Joe, please.
Well, we pull over. I'm of course like in just a state of like, oh my God. Like, it's shocking no matter what.
How hard did you hit it? Was it like a big hit or was it just like a fender bender?
I've rear-ended a car or two in my time or been rear-ended, and I feel like
Hello.
this felt like the most intense of any of the situations.
Sorry, I missed something. Are you saying rear-ended like you got fucked in the ass or just...
Sean.
I was not,
now we can do actual takes to each other.
Well, we could before. You know that, right?
Oh, but why look at each other if we're in the same room? Hey, I'm learning so much.
So
about ourselves.
this was harder or softer than when you got fucked in the ass?
I was harder than when I
John,
right,
got
right.
fucked in the ass.
Because this
are
is
you okay? Like, should you be at the hospital? What are we doing? Why are
I'm
we
with Amber. Like, you could still be in shock, Jamie.
I'm having
He
a little bit of
seems
shock.
fine. He seems fine.
Well, my car is. I mean, the front of my car is fucked up. It's like it's crashed. It's like
Did you drive home or did you have to get it towed home?
I drove it home, which here's the adding layers to it. Number one, about a week ago, I discovered that I can't find my driver's license.
Oh my god!
Oh no!
So-
I like getting hives. Like this is a nightmare.
This is like honestly an epic moment of like wake the fuck up, dude. But and
number
so like
2, 4 days ago, I got sushi at a place down on Ventura Boulevard. I'm just adding important details to the story.
Airplane.
So I'm just like, I don't have a driver's license, and I don't know.
Just
like,
killed a guy with your car.
No one is dead. Let me make it very clear. And so I'm kind of freaking out about that, and I can just tell that my car, like, this is not good. Their car was some damage and scratches to the back, but I don't think honestly all that bad. But then I pull out everything in my glove compartment. Like, where's my insurance card? I'm looking for that. My heart's beating, just like trying to rifle through.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's good that your heart is beating, because if not,
that is true. Which there's a whole other tangent I can get into about the rhythm of life.
Glanced at Aaron's picture. It was very funny.
It never won't be, I assure you.
So Jamie, you killed this guy?
Stop it. People are going to take it out on my grandma over at now they know the name of her. Never mind. So no, no one was hurt. But now I'm just like, yeah, I'm just, my heart is racing. I'm trying to I can't find my insurance card, and they're not getting out of the car. I mean, we're on the 101, we're pulled over all the way to the right. So, but it's still to get out of your car, like on a freeway, but it was slow enough traffic. I finally got out, but I felt like it was a good 5 long minutes before either of us got out.
Were you on the shoulder, or you're just in the right lane?
Right lane, not in the shoulder. So
whoa,
that's fucking scary, man.
Yeah.
Wait, but maybe that I mean the opposite.
What?
The shoulder. I'm in I think the safest place, like all the way to the right of the slowest lane.
Do you think the shoulder is one of the lanes on the highway? Like the shoulder, the neck, then the other shoulder? Those are the 3 lanes?
He's in trauma, Sean. Be nice to him.
Yeah, he is in trauma. He just...
my shoulder's okay.
So you're on the side of the highway where nobody drives.
Are you next?
For the record, we typically call that the shoulder. It's not a big deal.
I was in the shoulder, yes.
On this planet, we call that the shoulder.
Okay. News to me.
You're like, I definitely wasn't on the shoulder.
I was not on the shoulder. I was on the side of the road.
I was in the shoulder.
You went to the right place. You guys went to the right place. That's the point.
And I was already it happened in the slowest lane. Like, I was just like all right, we're pulling over now.
Jamie, were you see every story now I think has a pandemic layer now on it. Were you both masked? Were you masked? Was the other person masked?
We both had masks on, yes. And
nice mask? What was the mask on?
Skull mask?
Like sexy mask?
She had like a very similar to the one you wore. Yes. It was fucking scary as hell.
Fuck my car!
Oh, I'm so sorry that I hit you.
Now you have to see people have all kinds of emotional interactions with a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding that you can. I mean, I got a sense that I read, even though I couldn't see her mouth, that she was a little bit annoyed.
Yeah, what that's the thing. Now we all
what was the giveaway for that?
Yeah, now we all focus on
delighted.
the eyes.
That was just an intuition.
Jamie was like, a person is wearing a mask, but they are jumping up and down and pumping their arms. I think they're having fun.
But also I could tell that they were I felt like I related in a way that I would react even if I was, where they were trying to be calm. They were trying to be not a pain. They were trying to be nice. So I appreciated that. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
That's actually a big deal, because I feel like a lot of times in LA, it's all about reacting with self-righteousness in an accident, because that immediately starts to put you in the good graces of your insurance company. If you attack the other person and blame them, now clearly it was your fault, so she didn't have to worry too much about that. But every time I've been in an accident out here, the other person has been so aggressive getting out of their car. So it's good that she was not like in your face, you know?
Yeah, I hate getting yelled at. It's my least favorite thing.
You're going farther away.
Yeah, you sound very quiet
Audio.
again.
Especially now, everyone is. I just feel that there's just that much more possibility that, particularly in a situation like an accident, you just never know what the other person's anger level is going to be when they come out of the car. And now
we're all
barely hanging on.
yes, like we don't need anything to help us just go
We're
right
living
over
at
the
a
edge.
very high level of stress all the time.
We are a traumatized society.
I'm actually, believe this or not, I'm actually stressed right now.
I believe it.
I'm totally feeling it.
Yeah, this whole week it's been, and I mean, it's been already a stressful week.
Speak up, son.
I feel
Why is it going farther away?
I don't know. The microphone's right in my face now.
You've
Jamie,
got some kind of filter on your thing.
Do you have a mask on?
Jamie, can you bring the microphone to you?
I mean, look, it's like right there.
No, but like. So
but is it plugged in?
Sit back if you want. Why don't you just hold it and sit back?
Hi, folks. Welcome to Mike Talk.
Yeah, so you seem more comfortable like that. And go ahead, talk.
It's worse. It's not plugged in, Jamie. It's not. It's like something got disconnected.
Yeah, your mic is not picking up your voice.
Oh, better?
Yeah.
There's a volume button. Those knobs that we can see are volume.
Oh, you keep making the volume low.
No, I think it was on mute.
Did you guys notice that Aaron, when he talks in his sleep, is actually helpful and supportive?
Yeah, he's great.
So
Sorry,
you can hear me
Aaron.
better now.
No, way worse.
Oh, better now.
No.
This is unlistenable. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Better now.
Yes.
Okay, shit.
Amber was ready to bail, yo. I'm out.
Are you smoking drugs?
No,
He's been smoking drugs.
No. But it's not though. It's one of my cigarillos, but now I smoke them with
scissors.
Scissors. Yeah, with scissors.
Do you smoke indoors?
Yeah, but I have the window open.
I cut my hair with a cigar. Go ahead, Jamie.
I'm right by the window. Go ahead, Jamie.
So
you sound fine. You sound good.
Better, yes.
Better, great.
Also, for someone who was just in a car accident,
I know. I'm sorry we're yelling at you. You probably already have enough.
It's okay.
But get to the point.
So
look at my fucking podcast. The front of it's all banged up.
My car. So on top of that, I couldn't find my insurance. Like I couldn't find my proof of insurance,
and so, you don't have a driver's license. So to these people, you look like you're trying to like.
I look like for sure. So
this is my nightmare, Jamie.
She's like, "Can I take a picture of your driver's license?" It's like, literally last week I lost my driver's license.
Oh,
I already know what I sound like.
You sound like a liar.
I sound like I'm definitely trying to grift. That's a grifting situation.
You sound like a master grifter.
And then she's like, well, can I see your proof of insurance? And I was like, can't find it. But I was like, I had my registration. I was like, why don't you call my phone so you'll have it? I'm on my way home. In 20 minutes, I will.
And you could take a picture of your registration, right? Did you let her do that?
Yeah, she took she had my registration, my license plate and all that. But then finally, I was like, all right, as soon as I get home.
Here, you can call my mom's therapist. She can vouch for me.
Here's Mendocino Farm.
See, it says Jamie right here. That's me.
I did have the leftovers in a bag with the receipt with my name on it, Jamie F.
How did you not eat them all? It's so delicious.
I know.
Especially the Ben Mai.
No.
So then finally, we just wrapped up quickly. She really could have been a nightmare, and she was just like, all right, that's cool. Just as soon as you get home.
Well, you were a nightmare. Like, real talk, if the roles were reversed, you'd be like, this is the worst possible scenario.
Oh, I'm empathing on every level of like the fact that she didn't just straight up say like, the other thing was like,
call the police or whatever.
Yes. And so then I'm on the freeway. It's like the 101 is traffic. I'm like, if a cop just pulls over, I don't know, like what happens if I don't have a driver's license?
Right.
Am I Done.
They will shoot you, but only in the leg.
I believe they
only
would.
in the leg.
So we wrap it up, and then I get back in my car, and I'm just like shook up, like I got to get home. I don't even know if my car is going to drive it. Like,
Were you like that's a situation where I would be like shaking.
I was shaking a little bit, but then I'm just trying to get over.
And you had you had your first ever Zoom Low Show Pro happening today.
Looming. It was looming in the foreground. Yeah.
And all you had done was cook some beets and have lunch with your
I can't believe that you have the best checking in you've ever had. Real time.
Did a part of you while this was happening go, this is going to be a good checking in?
It's almost like the coronavirus was the best thing to happen to this podcast. No. Is that kind of what we're saying?
A little bit.
For our listeners?
For the country, for the world.
And I will say it was about 7 minutes.
Look at the bright side.
About 7 minutes after I was going up Laurel Canyon when I was like, oh, I got to check it in. I was...
so it did pop into your head at one point.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But then just driving back the whole time, I was like, I couldn't find my insurance form. I was like, I'm pretty sure I pay for my insurance every month. It was like, but I honestly don't know. I'm like, I don't know for sure.
What do you mean?
It's on,
he's saying he's not sure of the status of his insurance, right, Jamie?
But
well, it's just like I was like, for the first time,
bill that you pay every month.
But it's like auto pay, so it's just kind of automatic. And I'm like, what if that just stopped? I don't know. Like, I haven't had any reason to like check in with it. And so that was the major thing as I'm driving back. And like, please, like, if I don't have insurance, like,
you're screwed.
Is this like, that's the end of me? Like, I don't know, like how that works.
They kill you.
It is. Right? It's the end of you. Yeah.
They kill you.
I guess I would just have to pay.
People money, you're gone. You're history, pal.
If we get the next rate 4 years, they'll kill you, Jamie.
I don't doubt it.
Jamie Flam, this is Aetna, your insurance company. Look, we got a big problem, pal. We're gonna take you down.
Take you out to the meadows.
Yeah.
The final destination.
By the way, I just want to point out this actually, to me, is a great example of Jamie. I know we're saying, holy shit, how do you not know that your insurance is paid up or not? And that sounds like something that a 19-year-old would do. But this is a great example of Jamie growing and changing over the course of the podcast. Because in the past, we would have done the whole episode and Jamie would have said, I baked some beets. And then at the end of the episode, when we were leaving, he would have gone like, now I got to get back in my car. I just crashed right before the show. And now he knows to bring it up right in the beginning.
He's not burying the lead so much.
That's progress. Yes.
That is progress.
If anything, he wanted to get there sooner. We got carried away with the retirement home.
No, to be fair, he brought up the retirement home, which was just not even related to the story.
Not pertinent whatsoever.
Great red herring. Great Jamie Flam red herring. But I will say this. I think the fun thing, though, Jamie, still is you may not be burying, digging the hole, but I still feel like you kick the dirt around a little bit before you drop it. You know what I mean?
Well, so it's like foreplay.
It is. It is.
Now you guys are finally getting me.
So I forgot that the podcast
Oh,
was
no,
so
I didn't mean to do that. I'm so sorry.
And I appreciate that, Amber. Thank you.
And funny, cooking beets is actually my foreplay for this and in the bedroom.
Wait, I have a real question. Do you guys bake beets?
I've never baked a beet.
I've never seen it happen.
I don't know. I mean, I would bake a beet at least once.
Are you not supposed to bake beets? Because
I just have never heard of it. It feels like it would dry it out.
I'm open to a baked beet.
Hey,
it was just the first thing that popped into my head as a Jamie Flam.
It's fun, the alliteration. Yeah.
Can we do a quick segment? On how's everyone doing with cooking?
Sure.
Hi, folks. Welcome to another segment of How's Everyone Doing with Cooking?
I last night I fucked up ramen.
No,
that's a tough one to fuck up.
That's how bad.
In what way?
I literally overcooked it.
They
so
get
that
mushy.
It became a mush.
Yeah, that happened.
And then you add the packet. You still have to pack it and shit it, right? You know. And I put a little peanut butter into it to give it a little peanut sauce flavor.
Wow.
And
that's what peanut sauce is, right? It's just peanut butter.
Well, it's
Kinda.
It's a poor man's peanut sauce. You know, you just little peanut butter, little water, little.
I don't know, man. Have you looked at the price of peanut butter lately?
I get it at the tiendita across the street. That's a Los Angeles.
I don't know what you
bodega.
just said.
It's a Los Angeles bodega, and I get it across the street for $2, which I know is not great, but might even be $2.25, I think. But I was just eating this. I was eating like peanut
mush.
Mush.
That's disgusting.
And you know what?
And bad for you.
And I felt like my whole night. Here's how bad it is when you're in quarantine. Then I felt like my whole night was ruined.
Sure.
Like my dinner sucked. I can't even make fucking ramen. I was just curious how everyone's doing with their cooking in their lives now.
Yeah, food is a focal point. I think it always has been, but I could definitely understand how like a one fucked up meal can set the tone for a whole night.
Well, especially now it's like before you'd like have dinner and then go do stuff. But dinner is like what you do.
Yeah. That's the activity of the night.
Yeah, eating is the highlight. It's supposed to be the highlight of the day.
The eating with the watching, usually, in my experience.
Eating with watching what?
What are you watching? What are you watching?
Just
you mean just like a TV show or something?
Yeah,
a streaming program,
like a YouTube clip.
I just pictured
not
Jamie
usually a YouTube clip
in a wheelchair, just like Jimmy Stewart in the window. He's just like
full on apartment complex.
He's eating a bowl of mush, peanut mush, with binoculars, looking out his back window. Going, hello, neighbor lady.
Sean's next pilot has characters loosely based on Jamie and I, and the executives are like, come on,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Who would lose their driver's license?
No one is this low and fucked up.
Where are you going that you could possibly lose your driver's license?
I've gone. I don't know. I have no idea.
It's gonna be in like your pants pocket, like.
I've looked through all the pants. Pocket. I went to Sedona, Arizona about 3 weeks ago, and
did you stay at an Airbnb?
I stayed at an Airbnb. I remember I haven't been drinking much, but one night I got alcohol at a restaurant, and so maybe I was. You
went to a restaurant?
Oh, I to takeout.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So maybe
on a scale of 1 to 10, how safe is everyone being in the long shot?
What's your?
That's a really good question because I don't even know what that means. I was thinking about that today. Like, I have no interaction with anybody. Basically, I will go to the supermarket. I will go to a Starbucks just to be out of my house. But I don't see people. I don't talk to people. I don't hang out with people. I went the other night and hung out with a friend of mine in his backyard. He has a huge backyard. And I counted on my hand, and I was like, this is the 5th person that I've been to see over the course of the last 8 months. So, and to that point, I just have no idea whether that's realistic or whether I'm being insane or what.
I think you're being cautious. But I think that's normal, I hope. Like
I've been feeling that too. I think a lot of people who have been trying to do, let's just say more than less, because we're 8 months in and you're seeing people still going about their lives like there isn't a pandemic. I mean, that's literally what it looks like, like it's not happening. And I've had the same thing recently, and I've seen some other friends, kind of write about it, which is like, am I the crazy one? It's like half the country's getting gaslit as a whole on a daily basis, and it's like
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've seen, but the president is going on this tour right now. He's going around to places, and he said
He's literally at speaking of retirement homes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally at the biggest one in the country, the Villages.
But he was talking, and he was like, he goes, and he made a good point. He goes, COVID, 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 COVID. That's all they talk about, COVID. On the news, you just say about COVID. A plane goes down with 500 people, and you don't even hear about it because of COVID. And I was like, wait, what happened? Like, yeah, I did not hear about the plane that went down with 500 people.
That's a lot of people on a plane.
Especially since a 747, somebody pointed out to me, has a capacity of 346 passengers. So I guess there were people on the roof of this plane, so no wonder it went down. It doesn't
maybe stowaways
It
had the plane had the most people on it than any plane has ever had.
The pilots were doing that thing they used to do in the 50s where they jam a bunch of people into the telephone booth, but it was a bunch of pilots in the cockpit.
Wait, didn't you say before? That always makes me think of those old. Remember those stunt plane people that would like stand on the wings, like with their legs locked in.
Yeah, I mean, there's footage of Harry Houdini going from one plane to another plane. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
So it is possible. I've seen it.
A lot of people are saying a plane went down with 500 people on board. I know that's a lot of people, but it's a lot of plane. So I guess I feel like I don't know what's going on. All I know is what I've been doing, and there's no way to tell what other people are doing. Like, I see people outside my apartment, literally people from my complex, walking around with no mask on or whatever, and it's like, I don't know what to do about that. Like, I don't know how to tell other people to live their lives differently, you know?
I have a daily call with my mom and my aunt now, which is, I would say real quick, that's been progress for me. And
wait, is this Joe's checking in?
I don't want to go into any of my stuff yet. Sorry.
Joe actually got us wet. This is a different Long Shot podcast episode because Joe, in the middle of Jamie's checking in, Joe was like, "What's everybody doing with cooking?"
I'm sorry.
I didn't.
You know, the ramen was still on my brain. I'm sorry. Ramen mush.
All right, well, let's come back to Joe. Jamie, finish your checking in. So what's going to happen next?
I mean, I think I got to the heart of it, but I drove back home.
There's like a spotlight on your nose.
It's really
it's interesting.
It's
8 months in, and Jamie doesn't know how to work a fucking microphone or a light.
I love that Sean just scolded me for taking us off on a tangent, and Amber interrupted Jamie within 10 seconds.
That's true.
No, because Amber's not going, let's all talk about how we are with lights.
You're right. I'm sorry. I just didn't tell Jamie that he looked weird.
No,
I don't know.
It's good lighting. It's just interesting because it's like
So are people actually ever going to see this video?
Hopefully not.
I thought that was the whole point.
Oh, it is?
This is actually being projected on the facade of the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C.
Live?
Right now,
We made it. We did it.
So, Jamie, what happens now? Is your car still drivable?
It got me home, and
the tires are okay. The wheels are okay.
Oh, I mean, I didn't. Maybe not. They
5 minutes ago.
Literally, could you like feel it pulling or going?
No, I was very surprised that it felt better overall, but it got home. It wasn't pulling. But I immediately got here and immediately, found that I do have insurance that I pay for every month.
Oh, thank you.
And I immediately called them, gave them the claim information. And the best news was that she has the same insurance, it seems like, which means...
The general?
Good what?
The general?
If she has the general, that means you could save some time.
The general. We both have, it's not the general.
Uh-oh.
But I don't know
You
if this
have to
goes
say
for.
what it is. You have to say what it is.
Unfortunately, it's the corporal.
By the way, when I had a car and I got into accidents, the first thing I would say when I got out of the car was, "It's not the general." I would apologize that I didn't have the general.
It's
sorry.
But
Adriana.
I did get this at Keys on Van Nuys.
Wait, your insurance is Adrianix?
Adriana's. It's not, but have you seen those ads? They're also
Oh.
very specific. Maybe LA reference.
Jamie, did you go to one of those strip mall insurance places where they literally have you guys ever seen this? I used to walk by one that was right by a taqueria that it was the image of a woman's, her back, right? So her back, butt, legs, right? But from behind.
Go
and it was on the way, it was on the window as if she was looking into the location. Yes.
I know, we're back to that.
Yeah.
I like that you do it one
Amber's
at a time.
miming windows
Like-
now.
Her grandmother who has COVID is inside the insurance place and she can't go in, but she's looking in. But it was always like, like a young, shapely.
Okay, all
woman.
right.
It
No,
does
I'm just
sound like
saying,
Adriana's.
That's a Los Angeles thing.
Well, I'm thrilled
So
to
what's
announce.
the good thing about having the same insurance company?
I'm assuming this must be for
That
anyone.
they
but-
won't fight each other as much.
Yeah, since that if there's a deductible, all deductibles are waived if you have the same insurance company.
Amber
So-
said that with such doubt that there's never not.
That was right, Amber. That was a.
Well, because it's like you're fighting yourself, so you don't care if you get the full amount because it's
And
the same
Amber's-
side.
Listeners,
right?
Amber's doing a thing where her hands look like they're kissing.
This is Jamie's insurance, and this is that lady's insurance.
they're
And if
kissing
Jamie had
and
a
being
different
nice.
insurance, the lady's insurance would try to gobble it all up. But since they're the same company, they just want to be mutually beneficial to each other.
I would
Yeah.
like it if they both had the same insurance agent who then had to have a conversation with himself about the fact that they had an accident. I'd still like to know exactly why you did not have your insurance card in your glove box.
Yeah, that's not great for you. And the license thing.
It all worked out, and Monday I can take my
Amy.
car in, get it fixed.
You're remarkably. By the way, I just think we should point out that you are remarkably calm. For
Joe,
having
he
just
is
been
in
this
shock. This is not.
Well, I don't
Oh.
know. It'll come out maybe.
Sorry. I did not mean
It just happened.
I didn't mean to misdiagnose you on this Zoom podcast.
Imagine
I'm not a doctor.
we-
I'm not
we
a
can't-
doctor.
we pan down and Jamie is just a torso at this point.
With guts dripping out,
Yes.
viscera.
Uh,
Jamie, you know how everyone makes the no pants joke? Jamie goes no bottom at all. No bottom half.
all right.
I'm sorry
there's-
that happened to you, Jamie. That sucks.
It's really me. I mean, just
Stop
was not-
saying that. I beg of you on a recorded podcast. Stop saying that. Like
What was the-
appreciate the karmic reason, but you have to legally stop saying that.
What was the podcast you were listening to?
Great question.
it's a new one, a newish one called the Renner Files. Have you heard of this?
No.
I highly recommend it. It's kind of like got the whole true crime aesthetic, but it's looking into why Jeremy Renner's app was a failure.
That
And
sounds
it's,
great.
I think you would all really enjoy
But
it.
you got to just listen to those ads, man. You just got to listen to the ads.
Right. That's the ultimate lesson.
Here's-
is listen to the commercials.
Here's the worst part. There's 15 seconds left in the entire episode where they're just doing and thanks to all the people that produced this podcast, blah, 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 blah. And I just wanted to forward through that to see if it was, wake up call.
Can't go back. Can't go back.
Jamie, and what about the guy you killed? What happened to the...
I don't
All
even
right,
want to.
checking in.
Leave
Joe.
the question.
Joe, what's going on with your cooking?
Any ramen lately?
Last night I messed up ramen and made it into a mush. That was the recap of 8 minutes
No,
ago.
you might have a checking in that is all your own and organic, but I really truly have been thinking about you. and worrying about you because
me.
of like your normal habits of like haunting Los Angeles all night
Right.
long. And
Right.
you can't really do that in COVID. And I'm like, what is Joe doing?
Well,
What's Joe doing?
I appreciate that question, Amber, and it's interesting because I feel like all of us are trying to, like, we're all trying to put in the right place on the list of like, oh, woe is me, like shit, like, oh, I can't go out, right, or I can't have. I mean, this whole thing has been about not having something that you had before, and so I definitely, it's not the thing that I've been like focused on the most, but it's only like you bringing it up that's made me feel like, or occasionally somebody will, or like the weirdest thing is when like Facebook shows me a photo that I took at 4 a.m. in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard, like 7 years ago or 4 years ago. And it's like, oh, that's right. I can't do that thing that I most normally did with my time. As weird as that may be.
Right.
Walking around Hollywood from midnight to 6 a.m. But I just, I'm not proud of it, not the healthiest thing, but the fact is that most of that kind of attention that I would put out looking at the external world has kind of all gone into being online. I'm just like online.
Are you alt-right now? QAnon?
I've come all the way around. I'm still undecided, between Kanye and Trump. I'm not sure who.
He's only vice president. He's not running for president. He's running for vice president.
Oh, I'm right. I might write him in as president.
Smart.
Yeah. Because I think that's the one mistake Kanye has made.
Sure.
Was he on the ballot? Did he see his name on the
100%.
ballot?
I already voted, and he was on the ballot.
Yeah.
But he's vice president, so you might miss it.
I missed it, but also Joe Biden says Joseph, which makes sense, but also it's on the bottom.
Super confusing.
Well, it's on the bottom. I was just thinking through the eyes of like someone like that is just like so dumb that like you're like, oh, I guess it's not on there. So
I thought, Jamie, for a second you were like, you mean there's another guy out there named Biden who's like a more formal Biden?
Hey Joe, we got bad news. There's another guy out there who's trying to hijack your whole thing.
It seems like you don't want any more barriers to just someone
right. Make it like run with the exact name that is on the ballot, because people don't need any.
Jamie does bring up a good point, though. If Biden were a little of a fancier guy, I'd probably be leaning more towards him right now.
Oh no!
But
he's
Biden
too working class. He's too much of a Joe instead of a Joseph.
Did you know that he was born in Scranton?
I've heard that before, and that's where The Office takes place.
He says he's from Scranton. He's not from Scranton. He left Scranton. He got the hell out of Scranton. I don't know what he did. He got the hell out of Scranton.
All right. So go ahead, Joe. What else? What's going on?
So I guess my checking in can't be of some strange encounter I had with a person on the street in the middle of the night in LA. It's
good though.
Do you think that's better?
Like,
do you think
for
that's better?
Safety? I'm sorry for your personal hobbies, I guess. But
what was the one guy's name you met who like?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he was a skateboarder.
Yeah, that guy.
Well,
Gypsy Danny Trejo.
Gypsy Danny Trejo was.
Oh, Mushmouth.
Gypsy Danny Trejo, by the way.
What's going on?
Oh, that was Aaron.
Oh,
I was confused too.
Go ahead, Joe.
Aaron is not only sleeping through the show; he's also
editing other podcasts.
Trying to sabotage.
He's actually running another podcast right now.
Sounds like
and they have a different picture of like him with exclamation points coming out of his mouth
and like hearts.
Yeah. But his eyes are closed.
By the way, have you guys loved just watching any form of media that now has to deal with going through, Zoom or video, meeting like this? Like I literally saw in a Jimmy Kimmel clip, he was interviewing Will Arnett and Will Arnett froze in the interview. Like when you're seeing like technical fuck ups
Stars, they're just like us.
on national shows. It's just made me think that, maybe Jimmy Fallon he's a pretty funny guy.
It's always funny to me when it happens on CNN and they're like, we have our top virologist expert here today who's going to tell us all about what you need to be doing for the pandemic. And then the person goes, I think.
Yeah, and it's literally, it's literally like, it's literally like, if there's one thing that I want the public to know.
Yes.
That's a great Frozen face, Joe.
Thank you. Thanks. But people aren't going to see this on video, so you're fucked. All right. It's weird. We were since we mentioned progress with Jamie, I was thinking today about the fact that, like, overall, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Jeff!
Diddlehoffer!
He can't hear you. I have headphones on.
Diddle! Tell him we got his name right. I was just thinking about the fact that, like, have you made any progress as an individual? Has there been any positive change through 8 months of quarantine? And we're all in Los Angeles, everyone, so we've pretty much been mostly as inside as we can be. And I would say that, like, I felt like beforehand 100% of my life was whatever I wanted, and I feel like I've been able to knock it down to about 90% still whatever I want, and 10% maybe doing something that is better for me or for someone.
What do you mean by whatever you want? Because I feel like your life was not whatever you want.
No, whatever I want in terms of a self-gratification, whatever the easiest, fastest, in the moment self-gratification. So being just being way more selfish in whatever I do on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And this, like, so Jamie was talking about not having a license. And right now, anything like that is even harder because we're in this quarantine. The DMV no longer makes new appointments. They're so backlogged with appointments from when they were closed. So I actually applied for, a couple months ago, a rental assistance program, a Los Angeles rental assistance program. And it was like a big lottery thing. And I knew the first round of selections had been made, and I didn't get an email because I saw some people post that they had gotten it. And then about a month later, I get an email that says, you were selected, because my name, like, I was still in the mix, right? So I get this, this opportunity. I still have to apply, though. I still have to send in certain documents. And one of them is a photo ID. And literally all I've had for the last, 2 years, more than 2 years, maybe 3 years, is a passport. And it said in the specifications to apply and to get the money, possibly, it said a passport that can only be expired by 1 year. So they still gave you a grace period for expiration. I look at my passport and it's expired 2 years now. So I'm like, well, I know this isn't going to work. And I need another form of ID. Now, literally at the beginning of this year, trying to do at the, new year, you try to do smarter things, better things for yourself. I had gone to the DMV. I applied for a California ID. It was mailed to me. Then I didn't find it in the mail. It was returned to the DMV and they destroyed it.
No!
So over the last 2 months, when you're inside, it's like I literally could not walk away from the problem. And right. I feel like in certain ways, I've actually been able to do some shit, not a lot. And I'm still kind of like we said before, I still kind of feel like I just have the simplest routine to get through the day. But I called the DMV, that then gives me the other number. I called that department for the California reissuing department so that it can be reissued. And then, of course, the first time I call, they tell me it can't be done. Then I call back the DMV. They say, no, it can be. I mean, Sean, it's like I thought I was living one of your checking ins because I actually did it.
I don't know how to take that, but go ahead.
Because I actually went through the rigmarole. I went through the
Right.
freaking, the
You
thing
went
that
to the DMV.
that I dislike the most of doing something that responsibly I am supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the good news is, I guess I'll end with the good news is I got it in the mail this week.
Joe is talking to us right now from Romania. He used his passport to get out of town.
I wish I had a new passport. I just have this California ID. It's so weird that I finally have it because it's been like 10 months since I applied for it. I finally have it. I haven't even opened up the envelope. I haven't even looked at my photo yet. I don't even remember what I look like.
Do it right now.
No, don't do it now. I don't want to see what you look like.
I'll save
So
it for
you
my.
still haven't applied for the rental.
So I sent it. So here's the good thing about this program. So I sent them in everything that I had. I even sent in the passport, but I called before and I explained to them the situation. And the operator was very helpful and they made a note of it in my file. And I said, look,
what was the explanation? Was it just like my passport is 2 years expired?
I said, my passport is 2 years expired. I applied for a California ID.
No, we get all that, sir. Just explain why your passport is 2 years expired.
You're like the priest that I had at my first confession, where they just told us you're just supposed to list your sins. And I go, and I lied. And the priest stops me and he goes, why?
Yeah.
And I had
got to
no
make
idea.
The kids think.
I had no idea. The answer to that is because I'm irresponsible and I don't get around to doing the things that you're supposed to do. And so then I sent it all in, Amber. And when I sent the stuff in, they told me they would send me an email back saying your application is incomplete, and they give you another 10 days to get it all together. But it's something we've talked about on the show. When you have to deal with these kind of civic service things, I think more than ever, I've just realized how none of this shit is designed to make it easy for people who are actually trying to do it. I mean, every call I made to all the DMV offices, I was on hold. If you call, I would call literally right at 9 a.m. when they open, and you would still be on hold for your estimated wait time is 50 minutes. And then, and that was even if you got through. So I just feel like...
I just heard a report on, I guess it was on Florida, where they were talking about unemployment, and they were saying not only was it not designed to make the process easier, they literally specifically designed the process to make it difficult for people so they would get less people on unemployment.
To be a deterrent. It is so true. It's so true. And it just made me think about, like, this country is never, in our lifetimes, we have never been in more of a time when people need those things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the first podcast we're doing after food lines being a thing now in our country. And I actually remember some of my friends on certain political sides of the spectrum, sides of the political spectrum, every now and then they'd mention, if shit really breaks down, the food lines are the first thing you see. And I'm like, oh, yeah, for the millionth time when you see it on the news, 5 miles worth of cars, it's just...
I can't tell if you're saying Food Line or Food Lion, which is a chain of supermarkets. That is actually very good. No, it's good. It's good.
Are they doing okay?
I don't know.
Well, my mom told me that the clothing store that she loved going to, Steinmart, is closing.
My mom is a huge Steinmart.
Yeah.
Moms love Steinmart.
My mom loves Steinmart, and 400 of them are closing, and there are a lot of
that's devastating.
There's a lot of sad moms out there, and if there's one thing I just want to say is, hey, let's vote no on COVID.
I'm glad. I'll be glad on November 4th when it all goes away. When we don't have to talk about COVID anymore, because enough is enough.
Right. It's going to go away.
It's already going away. We turned the corner.
Did we turn it, or are we rounding it?
Well, it depends on how quickly you're going. Like, you can turn a corner when you're going slowly. When you're going quickly, you round. Like, you turn.
What if
it's
you're
like running the bases? You turn the bases or you round the bases. What's that?
What if you're careening wildly with no control over your body?
Then you need to see a specialist.
Well, today's the absolute biggest uptick, right? Like, literally.
Yeah, 80,000 cases. That's
all right, well, checking in. Let's go next to Amber. Speaking of upticks.
What?
Sorry, I brought down the show.
You took it right where it needed to be, honey.
Right. Hello, I'm Amber. How are you?
Hello, Amber.
It's been a crazy year. It's been tough for a lot of reasons. I am insanely fortunate. Like, I understand how fortunate I am that I still have a job. My company laid off 10% of employees, and recently, like, the layoffs happened in August, but the employee, I'm looking at a calendar. The employees left officially the second week of October, and it's just tough. Like, you have survivor's guilt, and you also have to take on the responsibilities of all these people who are leaving, and it's just tough. And then also, personally, I start feeling bad for myself for feeling bad for myself, because so many people have it so much worse. Like, and I know that I'm lucky that I have a job. So it's just like this complete mind fuck. Also, working from home, when you I'm lucky. Everything's fine now. We've kind of worked things out. I have a bigger staff. It's a long story that I don't want to get into, but basically the months of August and September, I just got the shit beat out of me every day at work. Like, it was truly hard. I had to take on double the responsibilities, and the responsibilities I took on were from a team that weren't pulling their weight. So it wasn't just, it was like, I was like unboxing messes, basically.
And how many years, just to remind people, how many years have you been at this job? I mean, at DreamWorks.
Are you using Jamie's microphone right now, Joe?
No, sorry. Did I get too soft?
Can I turn it up a little bit?
Because you've been there a while now.
Just over 4 years. Because I was there for the last election.
Wow.
Right.
And
but
this
yeah, is a job that you have. By the way, just also, this is a job that you have really grown to love. Like, we heard a lot about the job on the show.
I know, it's so boring. I'm so sorry.
No. You always had the greatest stories about weird people that you didn't want to be, have to hang around, but sometimes you took trips with. I just remember that one.
Wait, that's a different. That was the bank.
Oh, the bank. Sorry.
Yeah.
But anyway,
this is the one with the cereal. This is they had a really extensive cereal. Options. Is that right?
I don't know.
In the break room, in the employee.
Well, and we all had lunch. We all had lunch with you once. Well, come on.
Why is there like coffee stains on that piece of paper?
Come on. I'm just trying.
Are you okay?
The paper has COVID.
I'm just contextualizing the fact that, Amber, you're saying that basically a job that you were settled into, you knew how to do.
I wouldn't go.
No. I'm just saying.
You had a cushy life. You loved everything about it.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, Amber, you had a job that you were obviously very comfortable and familiar with, and you had been promoted. Like, you had actually, you were progressing in the job, and then it practically doubles in like difficulty or volume, or like you're saying, like,
I would say more than doubles.
See, it was crazy. That's
and
incredible.
The woman who hired me got laid off and I had to take on her responsibilities.
Yeah,
You had to hire yourself.
It was like because I'm
Congratulations.
yeah.
I'm just saying that's great considering how hard it is to do any job right now.
Right.
If somebody came to you and said, I'm sorry, you have to do these two other people's assignments too. I mean, that's,
Right. Well, and it's almost boring because I feel like so many people are dealing with it, but I guess that's why it's good to talk about. The thing about having a very stressful day at work when you're at your house is at 7 p.m. when you're not working anymore, your body doesn't know you're not working anymore.
Right.
And you're just filled with all the stress hormones and your muscles are tense. Like there's no escaping it. You know? So that it was a tough 2 months. Things are getting better. We're working it out. It's fine. But so that was that. But I do have a specific checking in. This week.
Beets in the oven?
I wish.
broiled or broiled?
It's just sauteed. This last week, there were notices on the door to my apartment building that said like filming coming next week, and it said the dates. Blah 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 blah. I didn't think much of it. We have a lot of student film around here. It's not a big deal. So Monday around 5 a.m., I wake up and I'm like, why is Jeff doing the dishes? That's all I could think. And I roll over and Jeff is asleep next to me. But I'm like, but somebody's doing the dishes. You know when you're like half asleep and you don't understand?
Goodness. Oh my goodness.
So I wake up and I go into the kitchen to be like, who's doing the dishes? Nobody's doing the dishes. But the crew, they're setting up, a crew is setting up. They're filming a movie immediately outside my apartment. Okay, cool, whatever. But I mean, like comically immediately outside my apartment. And they closed the entire street. Our neighbors, their yards were used as craft services. There was cranes. I watched crew guys saw down the stop sign. Like it was like a big production. I'm like, oh, this is kind of exciting. And I'm working
during a pandemic.
Right. And like, see how there's a window directly behind me? That is where it's happening. So I'm like working away.
Oh, that's real behind you? I thought that was just the background.
And so I'm working away. Oh, there's a movie. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll take a look. And
by the way, there's a wall of flames behind Andrew.
Right. The actor, I was like, oh, I'm just telling you the progress of how it came to me. I was like, he looks kind of like Channing Tatum. That's Channing Tatum. That is Channing Tatum. Okay, you guys know that I saw Magic Mike live 5 times in Las Vegas.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh my God, Channing Tatum's across the street. This is crazy. So there was a Escalade parked immediately outside this window. Again, didn't think anything of it. Jeff and I are on our lunch breaks at work and we're in the living room. And I'm facing the window and he's facing away from the window. And all this, he's saying something, all of a sudden I go, like he was making fun of me because I was like a Scooby-Doo character. Channing Tatum is like walking towards our window. That Escalade is his Escalade, like where he leaves to go on lunch break. He was comically close to me for 2 whole days. I listened to him FaceTime with his kids because I could hear it.
Window for 2 whole days?
Yes.
He stood up just staring at you and Jeff.
Yes, doing this.
like you were his elderly relative at Forest Pines Wake.
No, to the point where I went to go for a walk and I felt bad. I was like, excuse me, Channing Tatum. Like, I just need some air. Like,
did you not talk to him?
No. I didn't ever talk to him.
You should have.
But
yeah, you should have asked him why he was making a movie about a guy doing dishes at 5 a.m.
But
what's it called?
It was so exciting, and I realized there's been so little excitement and like joyful things for 9 months, which is such a sad thing to say, that it was like I felt insane in my bedroom. It's just like Channing Tatum is. I could see him from my bed. Like it didn't make any sense.
That's a great LA story.
But now we have like empty nest syndrome. Like both of us are just like, what do we do now without Channing Tatum? Like, what is our relationship?
This is what I was talking about. A pandemic takes things away from you.
I mean, that's how I've been the whole pandemic. Is what do I do without Channing Tatum? You know, I've never even had him for a second.
Sean, I want you to turn around.
Congrats, man.
and
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to turn around because if I do and Channing Tatum is standing behind me, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
Trust me,
He just wants to have lunch with you, socially distanced.
Only if we can have Mendocino Farms.
Sean, you and all your friends that are people of age.
Ben Mai? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, some fresh bon movies.
But also the name of the movie is Dog. And so there were dog actors as well on set. Like the whole thing felt like the universe was fucking with me. Like I get it. Like this is too
What do you
good.
mean dog actors?
There were dogs that were actors.
Sure.
Amber, was he masked?
They weren't people acting like dogs. It wasn't like there were guys walking around going, where's the craft services? Oh no, somebody saw down the stop sign.
By the way, what did you guys picture? What kind of dog was Sean there? I saw like a big basset hound.
Yeah, totally.
Amber.
Yes.
So they weren't dogs.
There were dogs. Why
there
is
were
this a hard concept to understand?
No. They were dog actors. They weren't regular dogs. They were dog actors.
Did he lick the window? Did he do anything strange to the window?
Oh, my window? Dogs?
No, Sean's. Yeah, your window. Did Channing?
No,
did he put his hand up? Did he look to see if his hair was okay or anything like that?
No, but he did get like the crew guys were like eating burritos sitting. There's a ledge outside our living room window, and crew guys would be like eating burritos. Like it was comically close to us, like obscenely close to us.
Should have got some burritos.
Confused as to why. Is there a thing about Channing Tatum licking windows? Why is that?
No, I just thought like a dog.
Oh, okay. That would make more sense.
The timing. The visual is great, but the timing of our auditory podcast is very good.
But also,
We'll see.
I mean,
We'll see.
Amber, that to recognize that is nuts.
It almost wasn't pleasant because it was so good that I was like manic. Like I was like, I don't feel well. Like I feel crazy for 2 straight days.
And
like I missed a meeting at work because I just was like, Channing Tatum's outside.
That's the best excuse. Did you
tell them that? Did you tell them that?
Yeah.
Did you get any pictures?
Yeah. I'll send them to you after this.
Was your boss like, I'm going to need a note signed by Channing Tatum?
Totally.
You could fax that to me. Do they fax at DreamWorks?
I don't.
Okay.
They use mostly pneumatic tubes.
But
just like Uncle Walt wanted. Wait, no, that's another.
Oh, but I think earlier, like a long time ago, you were asking about masks. And
yeah, what was it like to see a production during? Because
it was crazy because there was a tent.
Productions happening.
There was a tent that said like testing, where people had to check in. Every single person was wearing a mask, except the actors. That's how you knew who the actors were.
Right.
At one point, they shut down the street, so there's no cars driving by. But for one of the shots, they wanted to make it seem like it was a real street. So there was like one blue car that just kept driving by and going back, driving by and coming back of my window. And then there was 2 extras that their job was to walk by my window. And I was like, this is so crazy.
Well, can I interject here and piggyback off Amber's checking in for my own checking in only because
if interjecting is allowed.
I've had a lot of
I'll allow it.
I've had a lot of incredible experiences over the course of the last 8 months, just living my life. But I did get cast in something and perform as an actor on a set.
A dog actor or a regular actor?
I performed as an actor acting as a dog actor. I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, I got it.
okay.
But you did a totally different voice. You did more like a terrier, like a fox terrier.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm sorry, Swedish poodle.
Yes.
So, Sean,
It's wonderful. I love the snacks.
Sean, I know I can't wait to hear about this, but I was
That
going
feels
to
like a
ask
false
you-
statement, but go
No,
on.
that's not
I
quite
can't
true.
wait to hear about it. I'm going to delay it.
Because I wanted to take the credit for
I'm very excited to hear what you're going to say next, but first, let me say this.
for thinking in my own head that I was about to ask you if you had auditioned for anything, if you had gotten cast, and if you had not taken it, because I was.
Yeah.
That's
a good question. I mean, those are all good questions. The
Thank
first
you.
one was very good. The second was even better. And the third one was okay.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
So please. The floor
No, I mean, I've been isolated for this entire time, very consciously so. And it is weird to deal with other people. I had, I did at one point have somebody come and visit for a week. Only because
Hello.
only because they were up in Northern California when the fires were going on and texted me and said, would it be okay for me to come and I'm being evacuated. Would it be okay for me to come and stay at your place? And that's, you can't say no to somebody like that. But it was weird. It was weird to have somebody come into my space after not anybody being here for so long. But then, yes, so I got a message, an email. I don't remember, Facebook, or it might have been on Instagram. You know how you can get messages on Instagram?
Did someone send you a TikTok about a job?
Yeah, it might have been a TikTok. But they wanted me to be in a short film that they were doing.
Oh,
and it's somebody I really like. And the producer emailed me and said, we are taking all possible precautions. Here are all the things we're going to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I was like, okay. And it's that thing of like what I was saying before, which is I have no concept of what anybody else is doing during all this.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if they're saying they're going to do it and we're going to get a COVID test 2 days before shooting starts, and there's going to be temperature checks going on the set, and there's going to be all these precautions, whatever. I was like, I guess if people are going back to work, I should do this. So I did it. And I definitely don't regret doing it. Like I said, it was for somebody that I really like and respect and enjoy and have known for a long time. I would not do it again because when you get on set, and it was a 3-day shoot, it was a short film. I would say there were 50 or 60 people on set for this short. You realize what I realized when I was doing it, and I was kind of aware of this, but not 100%. I realized how incredibly successful the disinformation campaign that has been waged by right-wing media and the president has been over the course of this pandemic, because nobody knows the same things about what's going on or what to believe or what's happening or what's real or what's not real. It's all just everybody's opinion. This is your opinion. This is my opinion based on what I heard, who I listened to.
And what everyone's comfortable with. Like, it's like snowflakes. Like, nobody has exactly the same amount of things that they're comfortable with.
But Sean, I'm just curious. You're saying that you got this from from your interactions with the people on the shoot over the 3 days?
Yes, over the course of 3 days between crew members and other actors and extras. That was a funny thing because you were talking before about how you can't see people's expressions when they are wearing masks. And I got to the set the first day and I mean, there is a difference just in terms of where you're supposed to go, when you're supposed to be places, what you're supposed to do between background actors and principles.
Right.
And I had lines in this, not a lot of lines. I had like 2 lines, but to me, that means there's a difference between what I'm doing and a person who is a background actor, is an extra, we used to call them. Now we call them background actors, now that we are all becoming people of age.
Of age.
Yeah. So I get to the set, they check my temperature, which I realize in retrospect is bullshit. Like, it doesn't mean anything.
No.
The temperature is the shoes at the airport. It is such a fucking...
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Well, it gets worse than that, and I'll get to that in a second. But so they check my temperature. My temperature is very low because I had to walk from... Well, I had to... No, but seriously, I had to walk from the parking lot to the set carrying all this shit. So I'm sweating. And as you know, sweat is releasing heat from your body. So the sweat
evaporates.
is cooler
That's the whole
than
point.
your body.
Yeah. Right.
So my temperature is like 94. And they're like, 94? Uh-oh. Hold on. Let's check it again. Are you sweating? I'm like, yes, I'm sweating. And so finally they figure it out. Whatever, it's fine. And then this woman in her mask goes, "Are you background?" And I said, "No, actually, I have a couple of lines," thinking that I was being helpful by saying that because there is a distinction. And so I go, "No, I have a couple of lines." And she goes, "Yeah, your background." And I was like, and I go, "Excuse me, I am a performer."
Sure.
Yeah, and I guess
Sean is literally 1 inch from her face screaming this.
I guess because she couldn't see my expression or whatever, it didn't register that I could possibly be kidding at all. And she was just like, "No, your background." Like, it suddenly was turning into an argument about whether or not I was background. So anyway, I sat down. The thing I was going to say about the temperature check being bullshit, we also had to fill out a questionnaire before going on set every day. You were supposed to fill out this Google form, and this is, I'm typing on a computer now, and it was questions like
do you have
insurance
COVID?
companies?
It was. It was like, have you shown any symptoms of COVID? Do you live with anybody who's shown symptoms of COVID? Have you been around anybody who shows symptoms of COVID? Do you
It's
know
just they
what
have to
COVID
have that
is?
in writing so you can't sue them later.
So
or
the
whatever.
third day, before I was going on set the third day, I started to fill out the form and I was like, holy shit, I totally forgot to do this yesterday. And nobody said a fucking word about it. So who knows? Who knows who was filling this out, who was paying attention,
This
who
is-
was...
Well,
whatever.
and you can say no, and
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
And
Right.
This is a big part of life right now that I'm freaking out about, which is that so much of this is dependent on an honor system of people.
Right. which
And-
we
and
don't
that-
have.
That's the thing. And at a time when I'm trying to not let the last ember of hope in humanity burn out, at the same time I'm thinking, I don't trust people that much.
Right.
Well,
It's
you know what else was based on an honor system? The Constitution and the office of the presidency. And it turns
doesn't
out
seem
if you don't
to be
have any
going
honor,
well.
you can do whatever the fuck you want, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be.
But you're right. It is. It's like it's. This is what's really upsetting to me about all the stuff that's going on is that we're sitting here in our apartments trying to pay attention to containing this pandemic, and meanwhile, all over the country, there are people who are like, "It's not real. It doesn't exist. It's
Right.
not a thing." And what that means is at these rallies or wherever the fuck, it means we are going to deal with the repercussions of the fact that that is perpetuating this pandemic and keeping it alive for a longer period of time. I'm done.
Totally. No,
It's nuts, and
I
that's
agree.
nuts. The president had it.
I know.
I mean-
I know that I'm like naive, Pollyanna, optimistic, pie in the sky. But when he got COVID, I was like, well, surely now he'll have at least some empathy, some understanding. And he just came out of that hospital and fucking doubled down on his like, I'm not going to help anyone and it's not a real thing. And it's like,
I'm gonna
why not
make,
the basic level of precaution? Why is not everyone not just err on
Why
the side
not?
of
Just to be nice.
it's nuts.
I'm gonna make a comparison. I don't know if it's fair enough, but there's something about I've had people in my life where one in particular where they had a lot of similar complexes to the president, and narcissism being probably the predominant one. And I think that when people when they actually go through some kind of rock bottom or the most vulnerable point that they go through in
Right.
your life, living with something like that, a condition. You're absolutely right, Amber. A reasonable person who may not have some of those same mental features is going to
He had the opening to have a redemption arc.
The worst part is that the person in that situation, it's almost more likely that they will double down.
It's crazy.
It's I say this from my personal experience, and a lot of people who know this with trying to lose weight. It's the same thing as when you lose a lot of weight and you don't necessarily do it in the right way, and then a lot of people end up gaining even more weight than they had before. You go in the opposite direction. And this guy is so fucked up that he did exactly the opposite of what any other reasonable, thoughtful person would do, which is he used it to make him feel even more invincible. And that's the most fucked up thing, because what Sean is saying is that what he projects is what the rest of every other dumb fuck in this country not wearing a mask and not believing this is real is doing. They're thinking they're invincible.
I heard a thing today that said that 1 out of 4 Trump voters even considers COVID to be an issue in this election.
It's fucking crazy.
And the worst part is the extra level of layer of rage for me is that, and maybe some of you guys can relate to this, is that I always felt like if I'm a fuck up, the one thing that I should still try to not do is fuck up other people's lives.
100%. Do no harm.
Do no harm. I may be going down in flames, but I don't want to take anyone down with me. And right now we're living in a time where half the country essentially is saying,
we're all going down.
We're all going down.
Do you guys know anyone you're close with that supports Trump? Or is like,
yes.
How are you dealing with that?
Oh, I support Trump. Yeah.
By the way,
follow-up questions.
The three of us all should have said Sean because we've been on the podcast.
Well, it's funny because it's not funny. It's fucked up. I was thinking about this recently. I have people that I talk to in my family who do not support Trump, but do not feel as strongly as I do, or maybe disagree about things. And we have had huge arguments. And so I'm like, I can only imagine what it's like for people who have people in their family who do support Trump.
Die hard.
Or, like what that must be like. I mean, I have cousins that I have now, snoozed on Facebook repeatedly because they are so, like, I don't want to unfollow them, but I'm like, as soon as they pop up, I'm like, snooze for 30 days.
more minutes.
Yeah.
You're referring to that music service that you can get
in
your house?
The speakers.
I think they used to be a sponsor of the show.
No, but they're like, they're just very, the whole, I mean, part of the stuff that we haven't even talked about is the whole Black Lives Matter and the cop stuff and all that stuff. And this is a family that was civil servants, firemen, policemen, whatever. And so the stuff they put up is all about, all lives matter and that blue line flag and all that stuff. And I'm just like, I can't deal with this. I cannot deal with snooze, but again, they are cousins that I don't necessarily have to deal with on a regular basis, So I can just imagine what this is doing, what this man is doing to families all over the country.
Right.
it's just little details. Maybe it's because if you're like creative or try to come up with stories or narratives, the fact that this detail of this whole fucking madness that we're going through, that it's all localized in one family.
Yes.
Has been, because the more I see clips of Don Jr., basically, obviously everyone infers that he's coked up. He probably is.
Who knows?
But you see, I'm like, why does it have to feel like a TV show? I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's also part of the whole pandemic thing, that we have been locked inside with, I mean, I feel like I am in a personal abusive relationship with the president of the United States, who wakes up every day within his mind, how can I fuck up this person's life? How can I make things worse for this man who lives in California and didn't vote for me and won't vote for me next time? What can I do to fuck him over and get people to hate him? And I'm not even joking. That's a real thing, that this is the way this man has lived his life for his whole life, but especially over the last 4 years, and particularly because we've been locked inside all this time.
Well, and with Trump in particular, this isn't a new insight. I understand that. This isn't a revelation.
We're just literally, this is the first conversation all four of us have had in 8 months.
But what is crazy is he'll do something and it's like, wow, a new record low. There's no lower than that. And then the next day he figures out a way. He always tops himself in ways that it's like we're jinxing ourselves. We have to stop saying that.
Yeah. It's so insane. And it's always it's a new low. And then it's also the thing where people go, is this going to be the thing that drives people away from Trump?
And it never is.
Nothing has done it. So nothing will,
we live in a city. All of us have lived here long enough to be around a business and people where every other person we meet has some self-destructive streak, and it's kind of the thing sometimes that makes you want to be friends with them or you relate to them. And to see it at the highest level, because we all know that anyone who has that self-destruction inside of them, it's actually easier to keep going in that direction. It's harder to stop and to pull back and so I look at him and, like you guys are saying, a new low every day, and it's kind of like, I guess it does make sense because that's what that problem is all about. It's about actually going all the way.
Well, it makes sense that he is going that. What doesn't, the disconnect I know that we all feel is like, but how are half or more than half going with it?
How do people let it happen? Right. How do people let it happen?
I have one person in my life, and it's like, and I don't talk to him about it, but it's someone that's in my semi-close family who I know supports Trump or is voting for him at the very least.
That's supporting.
I would say that's supporting.
That's pretty supportive.
It's because you're going to demonstrate it. That's the way to demonstrate it.
Someone in that part of the family told me that no one in this family has said that they think that he's a good, moral, or blah person. And so I know that they on some level think he's a jackass, but still feel like, and this is a smart person who's so supportive. I just can't, what is going on?
Right.
And I go to a place which I don't know if I looking back on the podcast I've ever exhibited, or maybe I have a million times, but where I just go into, probably in a very Trumpian manner, just like, if you fucking support him, you are the worst fucking piece of shit on the planet. There's I don't care who you are. If you go in that direction, you're so fucking dumb. I fucking hate you. And it can get more violent or angry from there.
Yeah.
Well, wishing bad things about these people. It's another level that people continue to.
Well, here's two more things that I'll say. One is, it really upsets me how much it has come to dominate conversation. Just the fact that, I'm certainly more guilty of it than most people, how it's top of my mind all the time, how upsetting this is, And what that means is I now speak with my parents on a regular basis. I always have. I mean, they're my parents. I have spoken with them before.
Okay, bragging.
But, I talk to them more now than I did before this whole pandemic thing started. And generally speaking, we've had a few conversations that have not devolved into a tirade about that stuff, but generally speaking, it comes up during the course of our conversation. And they are people who I would describe as people who are of age at this point. And I don't want the last period of their lives to be us discussing this motherfucker,
I have a theory about that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to love it. But he is an energy vampire. Like, he gets, okay, I feel like the only way to actually destroy him, like if this were a video game or a movie, is we all need to just stop talking about him all together. Because he doesn't care if it's positive or negative attention.
Right.
Like, it's just feeding this beast.
Well, I
know we're doing it right now, and I am, but like, if we all just decided to never talk about him again, like, would he just like disappear into dust?
I think you're right.
I just remember when he did the thing where, I mean, what was it? Was it the COVID spreader event at the White House? The thing in the Rose Garden? Or no, it was before that. It was the Republican convention that they did from the Rose Garden in the White House, right? Didn't they do that from there or whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Whatever it was, they talked about how excited he was that people were so upset that he did that. Like he was doing it. And this is a very that side of things. Yeah, like I own the libs, own the libs, own the libs, own the libs. It's only because it's like the way he calls Kamala Harris by the wrong name all the time. Like they're all doing it now. They're just making a point of being dicks.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. It is like being a 15-year-old dickish kid, of like, I'm just going to piss people off.
Well, but my dad won't love me directly, so I'll get his attention this way.
But here's what I would say also to Jamie, because I have the same issue that you do, which is being so angry at people and being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But I actually listened to a podcast the other night that the two guests were two women who I think are reporters for the New York Times and maybe responsible for putting together that whole section they had last week about all of this and about how he needs to be voted out of office and stuff. And they were talking about people who were pro-Trump, and it sort of gave me a little bit more perspective on it. I still don't think it's right. But the point one of the women was making, she was a reporter, and she was like, she had followed around a number of people who had worked in a factory in Indiana that had been shut down either right before or right after Trump took office. And she had followed these people around to where they ended up next and the jobs they took and whatever. And her point was that back, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, if you got a job in a factory, you worked at that factory, you slowly gained seniority. And when you had worked there for 20 years, you had the good shifts, you had the good wages, you were somebody, you had a middle-class life. And then in the 1990s, when the world started to become a world economy and NAFTA was signed and trade deals and everything started moving to China and all this stuff, like that took all that away. So these people were losing their jobs, and you go, well, they can just be retrained at something else, or they can just start over somewhere else. Well, if you start over at another factory, you literally start at the bottom and work your way up all over again. So if your factory shuts down after you've been there for 19 years, you're at day one.
Right. And minimum wage.
And also, if you're being retrained, like, you've worked as a machine shop operator all these years, and now it's like, no, we're going to teach you to do computer programming. That's, And the other thing she was talking about was the whole system, the whole system of government and the political parties and the way everything is run is based around people who have a college education. And 2/3 of the country does not have a college education. And so there are a lot of people to whom the things that we take for granted are not things that they take for granted, that are not normal things. And I think a lot of these people looked at Trump, at least in 2016, and said, this guy is going to fuck things up, and that's what I want. I want somebody to go in and fuck things up. Now, unfortunately, he's also a master con man, so that there are still many of these people whose lives have not changed in any way.
Possibly have gotten worse.
Yes. I mean, they certainly have gotten worse because now we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic.
Right.
That they still are on board the Trump train, you know? And that's why I feel like when you talk to people or when you hear people talking about why Trump, you go, why is he good? Why do you think he's good? Well, promises made, promises kept. Like they just will repeat back talking points.
He is so good at just repeating.
Yes, exactly.
Shit.
Yeah.
The debates were they brought that into light where I was like, oh, he's saying word for word what he said in the first debate.
It's the same shit over and over and over again. And the problem is that actually penetrates people's psyches.
Right.
And they start to say it as if they're the ones who came up with it. You know, promises made, promises kept.
There's so many things, but the one that really gets under my skin is when he talks about, at any time he talks about COVID, he immediately gets really defensive. And the first thing he says is, well, I closed the border to China, and Joe Biden didn't want to, and he called me xenophobic. And I scream at the television.
That's all false.
He wasn't the president. He didn't get the presidential briefing.
Also, he didn't close
what are you
China. There was no ban. There were some people were forbidden from coming into. What's that?
40,000 in the first
Talk into the mic, Joe.
40,000 still came in. 40,000 people from China, traveling from China.
That I do understand. And 4 years ago,
the pandemic was already here, by the way, in
New
York,
right,
because it was a lot of European travel.
Right.
4 years ago, I understand the wanting to shake things up in a much different way. Where I still think you are insane to have ever voted for him, but I can still get 4 years ago. Yeah, fuck the system up. The government is messed up. Now, if we have a 4-year sample size of batshit fucking craziness, so I just don't get now. I know we're on the same page.
Right, but you don't. What you're leaving out is how good he is. I mean, I was thinking about it today in terms of magic.
Anything that's got wrong is people fighting him, or else he would have done it.
The mainstream media is against him. All these people are against him. I mean, I don't know if you saw the tweet. Kellyanne Conway had a tweet recently that was and Kellyanne Conway, boy, you look at these people and you're just like, I hope this person is never able to go out in public again. But
how do they look themselves in the mirror?
She had a whole thing. Well, because they're all making money. That's what it is. Is all these people are making money off of this. But she had a thing that was like, the media is against us. The Democrats are against us. This is against us. That is against us. All these things. And then somebody just posted a quote from one of my favorite TV shows, which was Justified. Raylan Givens, played by the great Timothy Oliphant, who was in Deadwood as well. And Raylan Givens says, if you just keep running into assholes all day,
maybe you're
the asshole.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, yeah, you guys are the assholes. But so many people buy into what he's saying and
everyone's against us. Why are they against you?
Right.
well, here's the interesting thing is that
thank God we finally got to something fucking interesting.
Something interesting. I just want to say, because I think the distinction is that Trump, what you're saying, Sean, as far as a comment, he's not just a bad president. Thumbs up. He's not just a bad president. Any other typical bad president that would have policies that did not do well for the country. Come election time, you're going to have way more people who voted for that person initially looking at the 4-year record and being like, oh, well, I'm not going to vote for this guy again. The fact that Trump is actually a cult of personality
It almost doesn't matter what he does.
Because there are people who voted for him 4 years ago who are not voting for him. Thank goodness. I mean, they are out there, and that is going to happen. And thankfully, it should be one of the things that tips it for Biden. But the craziest thing we're all dealing with is that there's a huge part of the country for them, a record doesn't matter.
Right.
Do you guys watch The Family on Netflix, the documentary?
You talking about Archie Bunker's place?
Yeah. He said things with a foul mouth. It was about just like
it was a Los Angeles cult?
No, The Family was about just like the religious, like him as the imperfect vessel, but like just how much of our government is run
Christian,
by
right?
Christian.
Yeah.
It's really insightful and crazy, but it really, that whole idea of the imperfect vessel. Yeah. Once you have that, or you have that type of thinking, literally nothing, like the more imperfect, the better. And I think that is what's happening. They're like, bring it on.
Right.
It's a fucking mess. And the problem is, God willing, and the creek don't. What's that?
I almost said, this is a good place to stop.
Well, no, the problem is I hope he loses. I don't know that he will, because if he doesn't, we're in big fucking trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But if he does, a lot of this stuff is not going away.
Right.
That's the scary thing, is the white nationalism, the militias, the violence, all those things are not going away.
I'm scared for election day, sort of either way it goes.
It's fucked.
Hey, to bring it to the personal level, I'm curious. Have you guys, because we've talked of masks and being outside, have you guys had any interactions with people that weren't wearing a mask or wearing it improperly? Have you said anything? I've had a couple. I'm just curious if you guys have had to deal with that.
Anyone?
No,
anyone.
We go to the drive-in. Jeff does the grocery shopping. I'm a very lucky girl. I don't right. No, I really haven't. No.
Because for example, the most common one for me is I live in an apartment building with elevators.
Mm.
And in the first couple months, they had a notice in the elevator that specifically said no more than 2 passengers, and everyone must be masked in the public areas of the building. And I would
cross out the L on that just so it said everyone must be masked in the pubic areas of the building.
And I've had occasions where I'm waiting for the elevator and a group of, 3 guys in their 20s, whatever, sometimes they have the mask.
You're talking about people of youth?
People of youth.
People not of age.
They're not wearing masks, or it's pulled under, and they're all talking. And I'm like, there's no way I'm walking into a small box.
Right.
Where 3 unmasked people were just having a raucous conversation. And this actually happened. So this happened the other day.
It's weird that they make the elevator out of a small box in your building.
It's a small black box theater. And so I wait for the next elevator, but one of the people that had come out, this occasion it was a couple. The guy was talking, no mask. His friend, she had a mask on.
Are we getting played off?
We have a Dynasty live stream starting right now. It was open in a window, and I do have to attend to that.
That felt like an award show.
It's the pre-show video.
I want to hear the end of Joe's story, so
I'm looking for it so I can at least turn the volume down. I'm sorry. I can see how that's
It's louder.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Amazing.
That's probably the best music you've ever played on the show, Jamie, accidentally. So I shot a look at the guy, and we've mentioned it's all about your eyes now. The way way you communicate with people with your eyes. I shoot a look at the guy. The guy doesn't notice, but his friend does. So she's looking at me and notices that I'm fucking annoyed. I'm pissed, you know, and I'm waiting for the elevator, and I'm just thinking, do I say something? Do I not say something?
Wait, I'm so sorry. I don't want to get into the weeds with this, but I'm lost on the geography.
Oh, we're in the lobby of my building. And they came out of the elevator and stopped because they were waiting for a car. Sorry.
Gotcha.
So they're waiting for a car. They're standing in the lobby. I'm about 10 feet from them, 10, 12 feet from them. And I'm just like, yeah, it's happened before in my building, and
they don't have masks on?
She has a mask on. He does not. He's still talking to her in the lobby, animatedly, Don Jr. style. And I'm just like, I'm going to say something. This is where I live. Part of it is my safety. And I just, and then that's the thing. You try to be as nice about it as possible. I turned to him. I said, excuse me, man. I got his attention. I said, do you mind wearing your mask when you're in the lobby or in the elevators for the building? And he's and immediately he was apologetic and was like, I'm so sorry. Yes,
that's great.
Yeah, sorry. And pulled it up. Fine. I tell my mom and my aunt that story on one of our nightly calls because
there's your mistake right there.
I think it's a funny anecdote. I was telling him how I kept shooting him these looks, and the girlfriend was noticing and all this stuff. And the next day, my aunt called me up and she said, "Look, we're just thinking of you. We love you, but you shouldn't tell anyone to put on the mask. You know, you shouldn't tell people what to do because there is a danger that they will become aggressive or, you know."
Oh my God.
And it was so tough to hear because I knew where they were coming from, but it also
Florida, right? Or Arizona?
Arizona, yeah. One of his favorite rally spots. I knew that they were trying to protect me, but it pissed me off in that way where he's poisoned so many people's reactions to things.
Yeah.
Because they were coming from a place of fear. If I tell someone the public health responsible thing to do, that's a greater risk than that person not wearing a fucking mask.
Right.
And being in the same...
Well, I mean, look, he doesn't mind a mask, okay? He doesn't mind people wearing masks.
He's probably got the biggest masks.
You can go online, you can see a supercut of him saying that he is against white nationalists and that he is in favor of masks.
Sean, you go out to that CVS that you go to,
Yeah, in fact, I walked into the CVS the other day and the security guard was like, he said something to me and I couldn't understand what he was saying. And I realized he was telling me to put on my mask. I had walked in, I had left it on the seat of my car and just forgotten it.
Right.
And I was like, oh shit, sorry. And a woman was coming out and she was like, yeah, we forget sometimes, not attacking me, but sympathizing, you know?
Right. That's why I said I tried to be as polite with the guy. And then literally 5 minutes later, another elevator opens and I was like, okay, I'm going to go in. And a guy was standing in there with no mask on. And as the doors are closing, I said to him, hey, you're supposed to wear a mask. Doors close, because I just feel like I'm someone who's I've always felt much more comfortable being an observer.
Yeah.
And I've had
I agree.
Come to grips with having to say to someone, I was in this small convenience store across the street. I was buying some stuff. This is very common in downtown, and it's a terrible thing. But there's so many homeless people, and a homeless person started to walk into the store to buy a lottery ticket, literally less than a foot away from me. And I just, you try to be humanistic about it, but I put out my hand and I said, could you please wait right there? Because I just feel like anyone who's not taking this as seriously as you can, it's just not, that's not
Jamie,
fair.
There's somebody in your fucking apartment right now.
Yeah, get out. What is happening? Oh my God, it's the person I hit. They're mad.
That's the person who composed the music Jamie was playing earlier. Did you play it?
I tried to turn on music on my computer and it wouldn't do it. I guess because the microphone is plugged in.
Sean, I'm surprised.
But yeah, I get what you're saying, and I've had that situation. I have not had it a lot, but I have not gotten into it with anybody because I feel like I have so far been able to justify in my head I am not going to confront this person because I don't know what their circumstances are right now. Right. The only time I came close is I was in a supermarket and I saw 3 people of not age who had the masks around their chins. Like they were wearing them, but they weren't over their faces.
The common pattern, by the way, here is they're younger people.
And they were young and they were male and they had a lot of young male energy. Like they were like punching each other and flexing.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, they were. They were like,
that's ridiculous.
They were shopping together and they were just, and I was like, do I want to get into it with these guys or not?
They sound like Jamie's junior high friends.
As I was standing there thinking about it, I got clipped in the back of the leg. Like I was so in my head of like, do I want to, because I know it's going to be a problem. Right. Do I want to do this? And somebody, bam, hit me right in my Achilles tendon with the pedal of her bike. A woman was pushing her bike through the store and she was like, oops, sorry. And so I was all of a sudden in the middle of like 2
your anger shifted
confrontations in my head and I didn't know what to do with it. So it was like a wave that canceled itself out.
Yeah.
You know?
That's beautiful.
And then I ran into somebody that we all know, and I won't get into any names here, but I ran into somebody we all know. And they were talking to me. I'll tell you after this. They were talking to me. They had a mask on. They were talking to me for like 10 minutes, but every time they went to say something, they leaned into me and pulled their mask down to make sure that I could hear what they were saying.
Defeats the entire point of a mask.
I wanted to pull. Well, I don't have a lot of hair left, but if I had more hair left, I would have pulled it out at that point. You know. So anyway, it's difficult.
It's for because I was curious about you because so many of your check-ins over the years have been dealing with people in the most mundane, everyday situations that are, obviously you do not suffer fools gladly. And right now,
I feel like you're making light of the difficulties I have in my life.
We are inundated with fools. But it just I can't. I mean, it's amazing to think that any one of us could have a rageful checking in simply about a mask that's under the nose rather than over the nose.
Yeah.
I mean, I
realized, and this was right during the peak of the. Sorry, my computer's gonna die, so I'm trying to be in a place where I can charge it at the same time. The peak of the protests, and we went to like a burger place to take burgers to go.
Right.
Everyone's wearing masks. The people who work there, the people.
By the way, Sean, seeing a little bit more of the overalls is really selling the farm.
Yeah, they're nice overalls. They're new.
And they got the like hip hop 90s one strap situation.
TLC, baby.
And guys, I do have a live stream starting in less than 3 minutes that I have to make sure is going off okay.
So we're going to be on the live stream?
I don't know how to.
Can we get paid for it?
Well, probably, yeah.
Holy shit! Are we playing the dip writer?
The dip, yeah. I loved connecting with you, reconnecting. I would love to do it again.
Yeah, let's do it.
But I have to duck out.
It's been a long time.
I don't feel like I'm like
I meant this session.
I agree. I don't feel like I'm ducking out.
It's been over a year. We've been talking for over a year.
Yeah,
that's why I have to pee so bad.
I do too. I have to pee so bad.
Well,
let's all go pee. Let's all go pee.
Well, Jamie's leaving.
Yeah, I think we should wrap it up. I want to hear the end of Amber's thing, but I think we should say that.
The cop wasn't wearing a mask. He was the only one, and he was a dick about it. And I was like, really? That was I could have told it in a better way, but that's the.
Blue Lives Matter.
You're like the opposite of that Chapo trap house.
Right. Well, okay. So before we go, Jamie, do you want to plug anything?
I don't know when this is coming out or what platform or if it's video or audio.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter.
It is on the side of the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
right now.
All right. To all the people watching, Dynasty Typewriter still does things. You can go to the website and there's some classes and shows and all sorts of stuff. And thank you to everyone who's kept in touch. And
yeah, we didn't even really talk about being a small business owner in this, but
I think there's so many things that I'd love to talk to you all about. Like
next
let's do it
episode.
Next week.
I'm sorry,
2022.
Jamie. My ramen mush story ate up a lot of time.
Oh, I'm not
Totally worth it, by the way. Totally worth it.
Thank you, Sean.
Nothing beats a ramen mush story.
I know how you love food talk.
Yeah.
Just check in with
What is
Aaron
this
real
show
quick.
we're doing again? What is this called?
Jamie needs to go like this. man.
Go, Jamie, go.
Jamie, what's the name of the show?
Which one?
This show.
The
The
Family.
Long Shot?
It's called The Family.
Oh, The Family. I highly
Oh no,
recommend.
the long shot. The long shot.
Yeah. I hopefully will. You just tell me when we want to do it again. Bye.
All right. Thank God we're alone.
Let's just check in with Aaron for a second.
Wait a second. Wait a second.
I do like this better because I can see you guys better now. Your bigger
Yeah.
faces.
Wait a second. Did we agree to recording 2 episodes today?
Okay, I'm going to plug, before we go, I have I guess I would call it a newsletter. I'm trying to come up with something. It's called the Sean Conroy Life Letter. I put it out every week. I write a bunch of stuff, and I was trying to figure out how to describe it, and I'm not doing a good job. But I would say if my life was a noir film and I was narrating, but instead of a detective, I'm just some fucking dope who lives in Hollywood, and instead of trying to rescue a damsel in distress, I'm just trying to get them to spell my name right at Starbucks, you know?
It's like if you're a guy just walking through Hollywood at 3 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, I went to the post office last night. This is a total side note, but I went to the post office last night at 2 a.m. to mail some stuff, some
Your ballot.
No, postcards. I've been writing postcards, you know.
They weren't open.
No, but there's a mailbox outside that you're supposed to be able to just drop stuff off. Locked. It was not, you couldn't open it. And then I went this morning again at like 8:30 in the morning, and it was still locked. And I was like, what is going on with the post office? Something strange. I don't know. Anyway, Amber, anything to plug? You think we should watch Trolls? Or
Absolutely not. Nothing to plug.
You think we should watch Trolls?
Trolls World Tour. It's streaming on a lot of platforms.
Amber, wrapping up, do you recommend any DreamWorks properties that we should check out?
What was the one where Alec Baldwin played a baby? Big
Boss Baby?
Boss
baby.
Big Baby Bus?
Buckle up. There may be a sequel coming
Get out of
that I'm working on every single day.
No, sir.
Amber, isn't there a Boss Baby TV series too?
There absolutely is, but Alec Baldwin is not involved.
Joe.
I have a friend who works on it.
Oh, cool.
Joe,
It's a
parting
good show.
shots. Parting shots, Joe. Parting shots.
Parting shots. Like I said, I'm trying to think. This doesn't sound right. I'm trying to think less of myself. That's not what I mean. I'm trying to think of myself.
About yourself less.
About myself less. So I'm going to use my parting shot to promote Sean's newsletter, which I have read on occasion. It's a great newsletter. Sean is a great writer.
What a half-hearted endorsement. I have read it on occasion.
I have read it. Sean.
Joe, I wrote a pilot during all this. I sent it to Joe. Never heard back from him. Never heard back from him.
That's part of my parting shot, Sean.
Oh, okay. Then I'm glad we did this.
I read it. I enjoyed it. I laughed a lot. Amber, this script is so Sean. I mean, if there was any gut instant reaction I had when I finished reading it, I was like,
Does it take place on a ship?
No one. That's That's the one thing he didn't put in that of Sean. No one but Sean could have written this pilot. It is so truly, distinctly, originally in his voice.
Give me an example of that, because I like that, but I want to make sure.
There's a couple. It's full of jokes that are truly in either the wordplay wheelhouse, the historical reference wheelhouse, here's an esoteric fact that you never knew warehouse. Here's the word that's used for that nobody knows that I happen to know because I read ship novels. It's all in the voices of the characters, and it was and Sean, I really enjoyed reading it. So there's my feedback.
Good. Okay, good. I'll take that.
I wanted to make sure that you knew that by the time we recorded
this whole disaster was worth it just for that.
Well, a little validation helps. Other than that, everyone, I would hope that you please stay safe out there. Take this seriously. Tell people to put their mask on right. I think if obviously gauge the situation, make sure that it seems likely that you're not going to get a punch in the face. I would love to do this again. I thought this was a lot of fun. Well,
there you go. I think that's the conclusion of this whole thing, is that we're going to try to do this again at some point.
We're out of retirement. We're getting the gang back together.
It is. I will say, as fucking crazy as I've been going during all this, I'm so glad to see you guys.
It's great to see you. Sean and I had one of the first memory. Have you guys have you had those moments where you've tried to think back to the beginning of the quarantine? Like that first month, the second.
It was
last
so
2
weird.
Weeks of March,
yeah.
Beginning of April. And Sean and I had one of the first interactions I had with people online, because we were talking about how to do the Zoom thing. It was like,
cute.
Yeah, because I had just downloaded it, and I think Sean, you were going to get into it because not
teaching you're talking about.
Well, no, or just
how to do it.
Literally downloading, like, what is this Zoom thing?
Oh.
And I was like, it's really easy. It's like anytime I can tell Sean that I've done it, I know I can be as reassuring as possible.
Yeah, I'm like, if Joe did it, I can.
yeah, it'll be fine. I just did it yesterday, so
I'm putting a small box elevator in my building.
They are small boxes, Sean.
Well, thank you so much to Aaron for
thank you, Aaron.
sitting through this bullshit.
Wait, Aaron, wake up.
Yes, sir.
Aaron.
If I may be so bold as to break in and promote Sean Conroy Gets Happier.
Woo!
Yes.
Things Comedy Network, which we work hard on.
Yeah, season 1 is out there. You can listen to all of it. There's 19 episodes.
Wow.
Season 2 is in pre-production right now. We're working on getting those episodes together. It's a little bit of an elaborate production because it's not just sitting around bullshitting. We're actually trying to tell a real story
2 hours
over the
and
course
20
of the
minutes.
season. Yeah, exactly.
By the way, Sean, I love that timing-wise, your podcast about getting happier.
I know.
It was literally right when this started.
I know.
But boy, did it give it steam.
But well, no. But what I will say is you can listen to it now. You can listen to it. And it is something that will, and I will say that also about old episodes of The Long Shot. I haven't done it a lot, but I've gone back and listened to a couple of them. And boy, are they fucking silly, but they're fun to listen to, But yeah, check out Sean Conroy Gets Happier. Subscribe to that. Subscribe to the newsletter. Subscribe to Joe's Claremont Grapefruit Double IPA.
This is my second drink. I'm moving on to it.
Amber's DreamWorks.
I didn't say that. I didn't.
Subscribe to DreamWorks on Twitter.
No.
Wait, Amber, if more people subscribe, does that mean more work for you?
Subscribe to what?
To DreamWorks.
I think it's just at DreamWorks/Amber, right?
Amber, do you handle DreamWorks subscriptions?
What are you talking
Folks,
about?
this has been The Long Shot. We will see you next time. And I have a feeling there will be a next time.
Goodbye. I have to pee so bad.
I love you guys. Take us into the bathroom.
No.
Sex positive. Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Sean.
Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it. Yeah, you too, Joe.